My girlfriend wants to be a tradwife. She doesn't cook, clean, or do any chores. She doesn't work and demands me to give her a luxury life as I'm fairly rich. She wants to live as a trophy wife. I told her to contribute around the house or get a job. She told me she'll just leave me for a richer person. AITA if I want to break up. I'll try to be brief. My girlfriend 24F and I 27M have been together for over 2 years. When we first met, she had just started college a bit later than most, and I had recently finished my undergrad. Since the beginning of our relationship, I've been supporting her financially, as I had a job and she didn't. I also had a car, and she didn't. I never had a problem driving to see her, picking her up, or paying for everything during our relationship. I bought her gifts, not because I expected anything in return, but because I loved her and enjoyed making her happy. Things were going fine until she recently got her first car, thanks to help from her uncle and parents. I thought it would be a relief for me that she could now drive to my place instead of me going back and forth, wasting gas. But then, she told me I'd still be doing all the driving because she didn't want to waste miles on her new car. When I told her I found that inconsiderate, she said it shouldn't bother me since I make a good income and can replace my car whenever I need to. That comment really bothered me, but I brushed it off and stopped bringing it up. Things took a bigger turn when she sent me a TikTok of a tradwife, traditional wife video. While I acknowledged that it was aesthetically pleasing, I also pointed out that such a lifestyle isn't realistic for everyone. She responded with, "Women are just marrying the wrong men." That comment made me furious. She then went on to say that if I wasn't willing to pay all her bills and let her stay home without working, even without kids, she was scared for our future. Now, I don't mind the idea of stay-at-home partners. I think being a homemaker is a beautiful role. But being a lazy housewife who does nothing is not appealing to me. For 2 years, I've spoiled her and done everything I could to support her. But now she was lumping me in with the so-called 50-50 men who don't contribute, even though I've been carrying the relationship financially and effort-wise from the beginning. Her words hurt me deeply, making me question if she truly loves me or if she's just looking for someone to fund a lavish lifestyle. Every time I try to talk to her about our future and how we could work as a team, she tells me, "A woman should never pay for anything for a man." That hit me hard because I give out of love and passion to make this relationship work, and it made me feel like she doesn't care about my happiness. It feels like she sees me, and men in general, as mere providers for her ideal of being a trophy wife. After that conversation, I couldn't look at her the same way. What made it worse was that I had to be the one to apologize at the end, despite her being completely unreasonable and unrealistic. She didn't even acknowledge how hurtful her expectations were. She flat out told me that a rich guy would always be the better choice for her. And I know for a fact that her mother reinforces these ideas, telling her that she could find someone better whenever we argue, rather than working things out with me. When I told her that I may never reach that level of wealth, I asked why I should sacrifice years of hard work just so she could live a luxurious life without contributing anything. Her response was essentially, "Why wouldn't you?" That's when I realized that she didn't love me for me, but for what I could provide. While I have a successful family business and a part-time job in a separate field, I'm far from being a millionaire, and I still have goals I want to achieve before considering a trophy wife situation. I don't want someone who sees relationships as purely transactional. I want a partner who supports me, not someone looking for an easy life. Her comments have been incredibly disheartening. She seems to think my success is worthless unless it benefits her entirely. I tried to explain that just because I may need help in the future doesn't mean I won't fully support her, as I've done for the past 2 years. But every time I bring this up, she just brushes it off and accuses me of not being willing to provide for her. It's like I've ended up dating the female version of Andrew Tate. The things she says are so misogynistic, like how women aren't built to work, and that feminism ruined the world, which goes completely against my far-left beliefs. I've always believed a woman's worth is her own, not tied to the man she's with. But for her, none of that matters. She knows who I am, how much I earn, and what I'm capable of, yet she keeps saying it's not enough. For context, she's 2 years into nursing school. She could easily work for my family's business and make decent money, but she's told me she only wants to finish her degree to get it out of the way and doesn't actually care about the career. I have no idea how she's doing in her studies because she rarely talks about them. When we talk about careers, she always brings up wanting to be a house girlfriend. After lengthy discussions, She finally agreed to consider part-time work, but said the money would be hers alone, while I would still pay 100% of the bills and take her out on dates. As for what she contributes, honestly, not much, but I never expected that. I work remotely part-time and help run my family's business, and she's in school. We only see each other on weekends when I pick her up, take her out, and bring her to social gatherings. We don't live together, as I'm paying the mortgage on a duplex with my brother. She's not cooking or cleaning for me, and when she's at my place, I treat her like a guest. We've discussed moving in together, but every time the topic comes up, we clash over finances. Some people have suggested I tell her to find someone who suits her needs, and I actually asked her why she doesn't just date a richer guy if that's what she wants. She didn't take that well, accusing me of trying to break up with her when I was only trying to communicate my feelings. To clarify, I'm not with her just because she's pretty. She is incredibly attractive and has an amazing fashion sense, which we bond over. But that's not enough to sustain a relationship. Her looks aren't why I've been with her for over 2 years. It's just incredibly disheartening that she seems to think a relationship should only revolve around a pretty face and a big wallet. I plan to talk to her about this again tonight, but I'm really at a loss right now. My daughter abandoned her child and chose her boyfriends and career for the past 16 years. Now she suddenly wants to be a good mom and want to take away my granddaughter to live with her. My granddaughter hates her mom and wants to live with me. My daughter is accusing me of poisoning her daughter's mind and getting in the way of their happiness. I've 55F been raising my granddaughter Emma 16F for the past 16 years, as my daughter Sarah 34F was never truly involved in parenting her. Emma is an incredible young woman, and I've been so proud of her growth. To give you some background, Sarah got pregnant during her first year of college at 18. She decided to keep the baby, and since she was still living with me, I naturally stepped in to help. However, Sarah wasn't much of a mother from the start. Despite my advice to take time off, Sarah returned to college a week after giving birth and then back to work shortly after. She made sure to pump milk so I could bottle feed Emma, but she rarely got up during the night for feedings or changings, so I did it all. While Sarah focused on her school and job, Emma stayed with me during the day. Sarah would only take care of Emma for a couple of hours in the evenings before going to bed. When Emma turned 2, Sarah and her boyfriend moved into a small apartment near her college, and I thought my time raising Emma would end. But within a few weeks, Sarah asked if I could watch Emma during the weekdays, leaving her to spend weekends with her parents. This arrangement continued until Emma turned 6. That's when Sarah moved back in with me, attempting to play a more active role in Emma's life, but it quickly became clear that she wasn't prepared for the task. She didn't respect the routines Emma and I had developed, and she didn't understand Emma's needs. Sarah knew very little about Emma's interests or dislikes, and had no clue how to manage raising a child. After a few months, she reverted to her old ways, and I once again became Emma's primary caregiver. At age 8, Sarah moved out again with a new boyfriend, this time leaving Emma with me full-time, only picking her up for occasional weekends and sleepovers. For the next 5 years, Emma lived with me, seeing her mother just once in a while. When Emma was 13, Sarah got a regular 9-to-5 job and began picking Emma up after school and sports, spending evenings and weekends with her. Then, a year ago, Sarah moved into a home near an elite private school for girls and announced during a family dinner that she was ready to take Emma back and enroll her in the school. During that dinner, Sarah made this announcement in front of our entire family, my sons, daughters-in-law, and grandchildren, without discussing it with me first. She claimed it was all possible thanks to my help, and said Emma would be living with her full-time now. I asked Sarah if we could speak privately, but she refused, so I told her in front of everyone that it wasn't a good idea and would likely hurt Emma. Emma has grown up in my home her entire life, and taking her away from me would be damaging. Sarah fired back, saying that I had no right to tell her what's best for Emma because she's her mother. I responded by pointing out that being a mother doesn't mean she raised Emma. Sarah left in a huff and later called me, accusing me of undermining her role as a parent and overstepping my boundaries. My sons agree with me, but suggested I could have been more sensitive in how I addressed the situation. But I don't feel like Sarah deserves that. She chose her career over raising her daughter. No one forced her to keep the baby or pursue her job, and even when she had the time, she didn't put much effort into connecting with Emma. Sarah has never bonded with Emma like a parent should, and Emma has spent years trying to connect with her mother with little success. Sarah doesn't know basic things about Emma, and instead of seeing her as a young adult, she still treats her like a small child. I raised Emma like one of my own children, providing her with stability and love. For Sarah to now swoop in 16 years later and think she knows what's best is beyond unfair. Uprooting Emma from the only home she's known, away from her school, friends, and the person who's raised her, would be devastating. Now Sarah is furious with me and claims I've turned Emma against her because Emma refuses to live with her. For clarity, Sarah was never involved in drugs or anything like that. She's always been focused on her career. I never held her decisions over her head or forced her to move in or out. I've always stepped aside when she wanted to be more involved, and I've never badmouthed her to Emma. However, Emma has always been hurt by Sarah's lack of effort to be in her life. Emma's father is out of the picture, and my husband passed away, leaving me to handle everything alone. I'm here for advice because I'm at a loss and don't know what to do anymore. This is my first post, so forgive any errors. Edit. Emma has told both her family and private therapist that she doesn't consider Sarah her mother and doesn't want that type of relationship. She's been dealing with these feelings for years, wondering why her mom doesn't seem to want her. Sarah's recent attempts to bond haven't changed anything, and Emma doesn't willingly spend much time with her. Edit 2. There's no legal arrangement regarding Emma's custody. Sarah has never paid child support, and we've always gone with what's convenient for her. Emma's feelings weren't initially mentioned, because if she had wanted to go with her mother, I wouldn't have posted this. She would have just left.